How's it going, everyone? Battle Shaman here with another video. Today we're talking about heroic and normal ZEK'VOZ, the Herald of Azeroth, in the Uldir raid. This is actually a pretty fun fight. It's a 3-stage fight, so there will be a lot of information in this video for you guys. But before we get into things, if you guys want to check me out on my social medias, Twitter and Instagram, the links to those will be in the description down below. And come check me out on my live stream, twitch.tv/Battle, where I stream almost every day, so you can come out, hang out, ask your questions if you're into Elemental Shaman stuff, or just in regular kind of fashion. Like the video if you like it, subscribe if you want more content going into the future, and let's get into this. So, ZEK'VOZ, the Herald of G'huun. This, like I mentioned, is a 3-stage fight, but first off, let's talk about your talents. As an Elemental Shaman, you probably want to be doing a little bit of AoE in this fight, so the talents that I use are going to be up on the screen, up above. Notably, Stormkeeper and Liquid Magma Totem line up perfectly with the Silithid warriors or ads that we'll talk about in a bit. Throughout the fight, Titan Spark is actually going to be hitting everybody. This is unavoidable damage. It hits for about almost 20k on heroic difficulty and a little under 14k on normal. So that's just passive healing that your group will have to do. Surging Darkness is the first ability that we have to talk about. This is when he reaches 100 energy. He's going to put out a series of eruptions, rings on the ground at random that everybody will just have to get into the safe zone in order to dodge. If you don't dodge it, you're going to take a crap ton of damage and might die. So watch out for those. Might of the Void is another thing that the tanks and everybody else need to worry about because of this. When he does the Might of the Void, he's going to do a combo of abilities. First, a Void Lash, which is a frontal cone tentacle splash. You'll see it in the video. And then a Shatter, which is a tank debuff and must be taunted or taunt exchange, blah, blah, blah. Your tanks are going to figure out how they want to do this. If one tank wants to take both Void Lashes and then one Shatter, and then you guys do the opposite, switching out, that'll be up to you guys. But ranged and melee, get the hell away. Right? Don't stand in that stuff. It'll do a lot of damage. Next one we're going to talk about is our stage 1 abilities. I-beam. People need to be spread out because when I-beam hits a target, you're going to see a little purple ring and an eye above them. If anybody's standing in that purple ring, it's going to chain to the next person standing in there, and it's going to do a little bit more damage. So you don't want to be standing anywhere near anyone. You want to spread out. Silithid warriors was the ads that I mentioned. These are going to spawn every minute or so. So if you guys end up pushing the boss past 65%, which is stage 2, and we'll talk about that, you'll only receive one of these series of ads. It lines up perfectly with our CDs, however, because in the beginning we're going to be putting Stormkeeper and Liquid Magma Totem on cooldown, and then a minute later these Silithid warriors are going to be up. So we're going to be able to use a lot of really good damaging tools on these fights, and you want to be stacked up actually with your group after I-beam has gone out. I-beam's going to happen 3 times, and then after that third one you just want to get onto the boss's butt. Make sure all the ads are grouped up because they fixate people, and if people are standing out and doing willy-nilly, well, they're going to be going off chasing after them, right? So you want to be stacked up for this. Stage 2, when the boss hits 65%, he's going to go into his stage 2. Nerubian Void Reavers are going to be spawning, and these are what you need to worry about because they can actually be completely CC'd as long as nobody attacks them. So a good way to deal with them is to kill the one that spawns right on top of the boss first, and then move to the back 2 afterwards. Your group will either decide which one in the back you want to kill after that, but you also want to move the boss to the ad that you're going to be killing. That way you can cleave off, do that stuff. They will be casting Void Bolts one after the other, so even if it's interrupted, he's just going to keep spam casting it. So if you want to have an interrupt rotation or just a silence rotation, if you have balanced druids in your groups or shadow priests, that is definitely recommended. Well, Rolling Deceit is going out, and here's what you need to keep in mind. You're going to see this Yogg-Saron thing up in the back of the front of the room. That sounded weird. Anyway, and he's going to spawn things on players, and these players need to run to the sides of the room, get out of the group, get out of anywhere where someone might be standing, and drop their debuff. If someone stands in the pool that's left over, it's going to spawn an ad, and this is it's called the Ominous Cloud, but if someone stands into it, it's going to spawn a Guardian of Yogg-Saron, and that's a no-no. those things hurt because they do this ability called Shadow Nova. A self-destruction ability inflicting 65,000 shadow damage to all enemies. All enemies meaning you can't avoid it, right? Just don't stand in the pools. Make sure you're putting those ominous clouds out of the group. Now, you want to push the boss, obviously, into Phase 3. So you're probably going to get 2 of these Nerubian ads cycling until you get to Phase 3, which is 30%. Phase 3, overload happens, which means Titan Spark just does a little bit more damage. You know, Titan Spark, which we talked about that earlier in the beginning, it's just passive damage that goes out. So now the room is overloading. You're taking more damage. Here's one thing you need to worry about is Orb of Corruption. These things are going to spawn and bounce around the room. Like bouncy balls. Big old bouncy balls. If someone stands into it, they receive a buff. Corruptor's Pact, right? This increases their overall damage by 100%. And will actually kill the person after it expires. So, if you are really good with your either burst cooldowns or off cooldown when you get the orb, or if your class can resurrect right away, if you want to save your battle reses for that, or if you're a shaman, you can just pop up right after you die, you know, just cheat it. This is a smart thing to do for those people. As well, classes that have executes. You want to grab an orb when the boss is able to be executed. That way, you're just dealing a lot more damage and you're dying later on, of course. So figure out in your group who's going to be getting those buffs, which classes are going to be stronger for that. This phase is pretty much just a burn phase now, so it really depends on how fast you kill the boss before all the orbs get soaked by players and then they all die. Essentially, that is a soft enrage, the orb mechanic, but you're more than likely going to kill the boss relatively soon after you get to this phase. Of course, this is where you're going to be lusting, so save your lust for that phase, and then just burn the boss down as fast as you can. It's an easy GG win. Congrats on your kill, guys. Again, like if you like the video, subscribe for more Shaman or regular content in the future. And until next time, guys, keep calm and Maelstrom on. Bye-bye.
Oh, baller. That's the hero we need.